Hey, you beautiful Passois snappers! Oh, yeah. They're snapping all over the world right now. Today is your slice of Yogatry. We'll be talking about water. I wrote you something. Oh, I'm gonna tell them. Water. Pure, carried away, lost in a glass, half empty, half full, like air getting pulled, a body and a pool, limbs with an elastic attitude, the clam and her pearl, monumental cycle of beauty, the rasp of the sand, formulating something impeccably grand. Water. Let's see what you guys got. Write me something about water. H2O.
Under the sea, under the sea.
Waiting in the water are the bones of our sons and daughters.
On high tide, skeletons skate onto shores.
At young, we're taught the rules.
Run when it rains.
Cover your head. Black bodies have always known struggle when it comes to
water. And textbooks won't dare to whisper how slave masters ensured that their niggas never learned to swim.
To freedom. Myrtle Beach currents tried to capsize my sister.
In this cemetery disguised as an oceanic playground.
I was the middle passage between ashes and holiness.
An oil spill of our family polluted the water.
I, my sister's keeper, sacrificed my breath to keep her afloat.
He sank to the bottom to raise me.
But something raised me. Palms on the soles of our feet. Ancestral ghosts wouldn't allow the sea to swallow us whole. Again.
After Yemeya, African goddess of water, gave birth to the 14 Orishas, her water breaking caused the great flood that created the ocean. After my own mother's water broke, she named me Morgan. It means of the sea.
Underwater is where she hoped I'd learn to
breathe. But when my father told me the truth of my conception, that they drowned themselves in liquor on homecoming night, it was then that I realized I was gifted this name so that I'd never have to know what sinking felt like.
In the 5th grade, swim class was a gym requirement. My predominantly white classmates gathered around the edge of the pool. They wanted to watch as I disproved the myth that there is no buoyancy in black boys. I saw the congregation of hazy white ghosts gleam down at me. Felt my skin tighten and twist.
In 1964, a white hotel manager poured acid into a pool in which blacks were staging the St. Augustine swimming.
Wonder how tight their skin got.
History will gossip of black bodies paving ocean floors like drowning family trees.
This is why waves taste like tears. This is why oceans are salted. Black bodies have always known pain when it comes to water.
I pressed my ear to an abandoned skull. Hear the thoughts of the woman who used to live inside of it. The struggle of screams.
They tried to tell me it was the sound of the ocean. I was holding a conch,
but they didn't know.
Yemeya's first gift to humans was a seashell in which her voice could always be heard, a reminder that
whether slave ships, fire hoses, levees, tears, black bodies have always known rebirth when it comes to water. At young, we're taught the rules of float or flight.
When it rained, we never ran, we stood.
We covered our heads not in fear,
but in prayer.
We have always been the middle passage between ashes and holiness.
Whether the graveyard at our feet
or our Savior's faith walking on water.
No bullets, no fists, no chains, no whips can hurt an ocean. We are children of the sea. Underwater is where we have always learned to.
Up on the shore, they work all day. Out in the sun, they slave away. While we devoting full time to floating under the sea.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. They gon' kill us with the water.
Every day, 1,800 children die from water-related diseases. The state of New Jersey banned lead in 1987, but today, Newark's lead is 4 times above the federal standard. Come hell or high water, we'll still be gasping on the neglect. There's no point in fixing poisonous pipes that can kill off a race of people that refuse to be a pair of flailing arms,
being suppressed by the waves
and dragged under the weight of the water, pressed down and we can't breathe.
The water has been killing us on a cycle. According to the Encyclopedia of Virginia Humanities, 15% of all slaves who took the journey westward fell overboard, pouring down into every ocean.
Spirits of slaves evaporated into the sky.
We learned exactly what the water cycle was.
starting with the Americas being flooded with enslaved people,
Flooded
With the riches that accompanied their captives.
flooded blood into every plantation. Ebony boys and girls learned to choke on blood before they learned to swim.
Learned to hold their breath through such a thick liquid.
The balance states that when the levees broke,
80%
of New Orleans was obliterated by the flooding.
The sorrows of centuries accumulates above our heads, and scholars are still curious as to why only 30% of colored children can swim.
black bodies clinging to ocean floors,
Our life jackets ripped away.
As soon as we're old enough to crawl down broken pavement,
nothing to hold on to except
lost colored souls,
So often, we jump somewhere in between the school to prison pipeline,
doing everything we can to hold our heads above water, learning our techniques the old-fashioned way, thrown into the deep end. To see if melanin can float to land.
Whether it be the rusted
Rusted
chains
chains
on the mid-Atlantic route or the
Rusted
rusted
lead
lead pipes
pipes
that pollute 63 million homes.
We've always been drowning in oppression.
had our lungs overflown with prejudice. Our own tears make us choke on the fight in our voices.
I've always known how filthy the water can be, bathing in abundance, only to realize that
The history of pain can't be washed away. Blood is thicker than the water my ancestors waded in. The water is forever muddy with black suffering.
Cycles keep going until you break them.
You can't break something that's fluid unless you freeze it.
to prove that we can swim too,
we cry rivers and sweat oceans.
Bleed bottles of blood.
We've been drowning in our oppression for so long.
we've gone deaf to the soulful sound of
Wade in the water. They gon' kill us with the water.
New world water makes the tide rise high.
Be of water. Be like water. Be of water. Feel the coursing of its presence through you and within you. To be of water, you are free of resistance. No urges, just swells and surges. You take the shape of your container, you take the shape of your circumstance. You pool, you cascade, you fill the enclosure of a moment entirely, if only for a brief period of time, to absorb the opportunity, a fleeting capacity, before the enclosure of that moment collapses into infinity. Pure you provide, pure you take. Tumultuousness never quenched a thirst for power. Waves that crash will only break themselves, not the rocks along the coast. Though, once broken, they cannot help but regroup, reform, and redo. Be like water. Let others move through you and around you. To be like water is to be tense and to be slack. Be slack when letting swans push back their black webs to make ripples along you. Be tense when supporting the insects who stride with spidery legs across your surface. Be both and be everything to the world above and the world below. The illusion of conquest is futile. Ships challenge, ships resist. You, as water, do not challenge. You exist. Be of water. Be like water.